Dentists that own their own practice, provide customer service excellence, and work with a professional SEO make the most money. Welcome to Dental SEO 101, a podcast dedicated to helping dentists retire well.
Hello, and welcome to the Dental SEO 101 podcast, episode number 2 by First Dentist. My name is Ross Dunn, and I'm the director of SEO and co-founder of First Dentist. And my co-host is my friend and colleague, Scott Van Ack, a 20-plus year veteran of SEO. How's it going today, bud?
Every day's a great day.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Especially in the SEO world, right?
Absolutely. Even the bad days, you find a silver lining somewhere.
Good. I love it. Okay, well, let's jump into some non-SEO news. This is just stuff that we typically share because it has some impact on the digital marketing environment, and you might hear about it soon or may have already heard about it. However, it's always interesting to hear a little more detail. So first of all, Google is close to making its biggest acquisition ever. This is their owner of Google, Alphabet. It's in advanced discussions to buy a fast-growing cybersecurity startup called Wiz for roughly $23 billion. Now that would be its largest purchase by far, easily surpassing its purchase of Motorola for $12.5 billion about a decade ago, which was the biggest takeover and also a massive loss as they sold it 2 years later. Now, buying Wiz, the idea here is, we're guessing, it's kind of a shot across the shot across the bow at Microsoft and Amazon, showing that Google's making a major bet on the cybersecurity space to complement its flagship offering in the cloud. So what was kind of shocking, because this is every founder's dream, if it gets finalized and closed, it would mark a significant exit for the 4 founders. I'm not even going to bother their names. I will totally butcher them.
I was wondering if you're going to try.
Yeah, I tried on another. Didn't work out when I tried it last. So the 4 executives met years ago when they were drafted into Unit 8200, the cyber intelligence division of the Israeli Defense Forces. Pretty amazing. Obviously, these guys are bright guys and knew their stuff. So they're going to be sitting pretty happy if this goes through. There's no certainty it will, but it is an advanced discussion, so it might just happen.
It's kind of cool. Like, I'm wondering if Google does acquire them and moves forward. I know the focus is on cloud services and that sort of thing, but I'm wondering if they'll up security aspects to organic search as a result. I mean, I don't know, maybe get their filtering a bit better. I don't know.
Who knows? I mean, I don't even know much about Wiz. Interesting. I'm sure it does some pretty amazing things, but I have no idea what they are. And I bet you a lot of people don't. It's probably one of those security systems that work behind the scenes that makes things better, but you don't even know it. I don't know. That's pretty hard to sell, though, so they're going to have to do something to make it look impressive. It's probably for enterprise. Okay. Next bit here is an interesting take on an IAB, that's the Internet Advertising Bureau report. Now, this article is by Greg Jarbo on Search Engine Journal, and it's discussing the fact that video ad buyers, these are people who buy things on TV, they buy it on social networks where you see videos that appear, all these things, are now no longer all that excited about the frequency of ad views or how long people have been watching, all this data that used to drive their purchasing. Now they're finally focused on business outcomes. What is the brass tack? Like, how are they actually making money on this stuff? Which is about time. I mean, really, I can't even imagine how much money they were throwing away when they weren't really looking at how much it improved their bottom line. Obviously, they had the money to spend, so they weren't doing badly, but now they're really focused on this. And the same goes for SEO for First Dentist. You know, we've always been focused on ensuring that our clients are making money off our business. The trickiest part, and this has been experienced by both industries, is tracking that is very difficult. You know, we've tried call tracking, we've got different analytics in place. We're asking the front desks of each of the practices to take note of where people are coming from. But oftentimes people will just say, I found out about you guys on Google. Well, that's great, but there's a lot of different ways we're possibly sending traffic through Google. There's paid ads, which we are often doing for our clients. There's also organic, there's local SEO, maybe there's articles. It's just so many different things, but they don't care and they don't know, and they probably didn't even pay attention. The other one that's a real frustrating one is, oh yeah, I got a referral. And we've had clients to say, we just don't know how much business is coming because we get a lot of referrals. I'm like, yes, but most referrals do a little research first. They're going to go and check and see who you are. And maybe they'll check out your local business profile to see how many reviews you had, how well you show up, all these things. But there's no way to track that effectively and know it was them. And I can only imagine that's even harder for these larger enterprise level businesses that are doing video ads. Anyway, we're all trying to improve upon this, and it would be great if there was a single answer. Whoever invents that's going to be set for life. We can only hope it will come at some point, but with all the privacy in place nowadays, which is a good thing, it has downsides, which we can no longer really connect the dots because cookies aren't being kept. There's a lot of ways we don't even know what is visiting the page. It could be a bot. It could be a person. Who knows?
I think if you eliminate privacy from the equation, tracking each individual ad view to a sale would actually be really easy.
Yeah.
You know, like you've got IPs, even if it's showing up on your TV and then somebody from that residence buys. I mean, all that data I'm sure is already being recorded and exists, but they won't access it maybe because they sell all their data anyways. So
yeah, and obviously we don't do video ads
No.
We've done it maybe once for dentist, but really it's not a big focus because it's quite expensive for our clients. But one of the things that they talked about was how these companies were trying to also consider the fact that there's often viewing parties where multiple people are watching the same episode on one TV, but there's no way for them to know. I'm like, oh my God, I don't even want to know how they're going to try and find out.
Well, some TVs have cameras and
exactly.
Your phone will be listening. Okay, they're listening to that ad, and then he goes home and makes the order. I bet they can do it. It's gonna be scary. It's gonna be like 1984 type stuff. Terrifying.
Yeah. I found that a really kind of creepy direction they were taking there. It's a really interesting article though by Greg, and do recommend it. Again, it's on Search Engine Journal. The title is Business Outcomes Are the Top KPI Video Ad Buyer, or Top KPI of Video Ad Buyers. Anyway, check it out if you get a chance. Now let's jump into SEO news. Okay. What do you think, Scott? You want to take this one?
Sure. Core update is on its way. So funny thing about core updates, usually what'll happen is there is one, and then their basic recommendations after, like, just be better. And that's the result. Now, in this case, it's a little bit different because Danny Sullivan over at Google had said, and this is a quote from Danny, "We can improve in some of these cases where creators with their hearts in the right places and who are doing the real content effort behind that are rewarded as we should be doing." So there's talks that this core update is going to focus on content a little bit. And where that's important is if any practices out there who were hurt by the helpful content update, which I want to say was in the fall of 23, but it might have even been before that. I've lost track of time. Any businesses hurt by that helpful content update could benefit from this upcoming core update. So I think that's kind of exciting news. If you are struggling since that previous update, this might show and bring you some relief. So
yeah, let's hope so. We personally know people who have lost a lot of traffic due to this because Google just figured these are just small sites. They're probably faking it. I mean, I don't know how they actually thought. I mean, it's just the way it makes it look, and they just were trumped out by these other great systems, and that's just sad. Because in one instance, it was a great. This lady I actually did a little consulting for. She was wonderful, and she had a fantastic blog that gave lots of excellent dog care tips and training and all this stuff. And she was really passionate about it. And she had tons and tons of stuff. Sure, she made a little money on some affiliate links and stuff, but hello, people have to make money, survive. Hello.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. And it was valid personal experience. And it was, she's not an approved dog trainer or have all these great qualifications, but she was certainly worth reading. And I learned stuff from it. So Google's thrown the baby out with the bathwater by really canning a lot of these small sites that are doing affiliate work and it perceives aren't providing really quality content. I really truly believe many of them do. Anyway, hopefully they can improve that in this next core update. All right, so next is an article by Roger Monti. The title is Core Web Vitals and Google Page Experience Ranking Factor Updated. All right, so this was a little bit bizarre, but essentially what happens is that if you have the Chrome browser, Google can request that you opt in to tracking. Now, this tracking will measure when you are visiting websites. Now, what Google used this information for was to influence the page. They would use this information on how you acted on a page to influence the page experience ranking factor. I know this all sounds like gobbledygook, but the page experience ranking factor actually impacts how well you rank. It's all about, are you providing a great experience from a user experience point of view for anyone visiting your site? And one of them was interaction to next paint, INP, which is how long it takes for a web page to become responsive to your interaction. I don't know about you, but I find that really frustrating when I load a page and I'm like waiting and waiting, and I maybe even see stuff I can click on, but I can't actually do anything because something's loading. And they were rightly counting that as a negative. I don't want to say punishing, but they're just counting as a negative against that website when they found these. But what they've discovered, though, was there were some legitimate reasons for it, such as alerts, confirmation requests, and print buttons that would appear that were harming these websites, that because it looked like the interaction in XPaint was a bad experience, but it really wasn't. Anyway, they made changes, and as a result, and it's in this report in June of Chrome user experience, they've noticed a small percentage of improvements across the web. And it could be very well that it's because of these particular issues not being counted anymore as bad. Long-winded, but it is interesting because, you know, it is something that we've learned about recently, that Google has confirmed through their leak that they're using the Chrome browser for this kind of information. And now we see that it actually has benefits once they determine the mistake they made, if they ever do. And they did in this case. So anyways.
That'll be interesting to see for sites that use various pop-ups and things anyways. What will happen with their results and traffic and things in the coming days, weeks, whatever the case may be. I think it'll be interesting. Like if you're using any of these systems that were harmful but shouldn't be, you should see a bit of a boost. So it could be cool.
Agreed. Well, we'll see what happens. Another testing, something about a little testing here, is Google is testing a back to AI overview button. Now, this button is appearing on search results only in some situations. It was spotted in the wild, as we like to say. It's not something that's been rolled out everywhere. But when you are loading a search engine result page right now, and again, I'm saying right now because it changes all the time, you may often see an AI overview, an overview of the search you're looking for, an answer. What essentially Google is providing an answer is really what it is, but an overview of a response to your query. And this is generated using Gemini, their AI system. Now, if you pass that and go right back down to the normal ranking results that you're used to and scroll down the page, a button will follow you in the top right, I think it was, of your page or nearby, saying overview. And you can go right back to it. And I guess it's their way of checking how many people might find it more useful after they've gone down the page. Interesting. Again, it's them trying to test and get some value out of all this effort they're putting into AI, I think.
I don't know if I like it.
Yeah, me neither.
I think it just reminds me of all the old school back to top buttons that people don't really use anymore. I see them every now and then, but I don't know. It seems like a dated
I love it on
technique.
a web page. I really love it on a web page, especially in mobile.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than scrolling, flicking, trying to get back to the top again. It's nice to have that one follow you and you can just press it and you're back to the top.
I think part of the reason I don't like it is because It's like Google telling me what to do. No, go back to this AI overview. It's really good. Come check it out again. Like, no, I've seen it. I've moved on. We're over Google. I'm over it. Like, and they just want you to go back. Like, what's next? A floating button that's oh, go back to the ads. This will take you back to the ads, you know?
Or
like
floating ads.
Floating. Oh, don't even. I'm deleting Chrome, and I'm never using Google again if they start having floating ads. They're going to do it now.
That would be the worst.
You've just started something. It's definitely happening now.
Yeah, well, they do listen.
Yeah.
Anyway, in other testing news, one of my favorite people, I'd say, in the SEO industry, Kevin Indig, wrote an interesting article about his testing of domains and what his testing has revealed. The title is "What 4,538 domains tell us about CCTLD rankings in the US." These are country code top level domains. This has no impact. Right off the bat, you can go, "Oh, this has no impact on my practice. Why would I even care about this?" I think you'll understand once we get into this a little more. You'll hear a few tidbits, and it might correct some faulty assumptions you have about domains, and might fortify a few that you have as well, because there are other facts and tests that he did within this article. The reason he did it was back, I think it was in 2021, the Times of India, a newspaper, quadrupled its organic growth in the US in just 12 months. And since then, many have said that they've seen more international domains, which are country code top level domains, CCTLDs, ranking in the US. They've seen more of them. And the question is this a trend? That's the primary question in this article, but there are going to be more results. Anyway, out of 4,538 domains, he found that only 52 were from the UK, Canada, and India. As a result, he can fairly reasonably say that the Times of India was an outlier. It's not something that is happening on a regular basis. For some reason, it just caught Google's eye and really improved things. Now we'll get into some of the stuff that I think could really stand out for you, and it's just interesting. He next checked top-level domains across 7,678 results to see if any had more impact on rankings. He didn't find anything conclusive. So what he's looking at are all the different types: .net, .co.uk, .edu, .org. Did any of these have more impacts on rankings? And this is something I get asked a lot. Even by practices, do I have to get a .com? Can I go for a .ca? Does a .net, is .net okay? Well, there really is no big difference. And it does have different impacts on different types of marketing, but when you're talking about your practice, it doesn't have too much of an issue, unless you're getting a .ca and you're not in Canada. That wouldn't be a good idea. Yeah. Or a .us and you're in Canada. It just wouldn't make any sense. Okay, so here's just a few things. I'll just rattle them off. .net top-level domains have a lower chance of showing up in the top 2 positions. .us didn't show up in top positions at all. Now, Kevin does note that a US domain he knows performs really well. So this is just a taste of what he's found, right? And you never know how accurate it is because he didn't check millions of domains. He checked 7,600, right? .gov has the best chance to rank at the top. No one's surprised about that because governmental organizations tend to have great rankings. .uk has a lower chance of ranking at the top compared to .coms. .co has a lower chance of ranking at the top than a .com. .edu or .edu doesn't perform as well in position 1 compared to .gov. That's kind of interesting. I would think that does depend on the search.
I think a larger sample size might show EDU performing much higher.
Yeah. Again, it's about the search, right? I mean, if you're doing a government, you're looking at particular law or something. I don't think a .edu would show up as quickly. Who knows? He did say that, and this could be skewed, the .org has a higher chance of ranking at the top than .com, but he believes that might be influenced by Wikipedia.org, which happens to appear in every darn ranking, it seems. Yeah. Every darn search. He mentioned the .com top-level domains rank 71.8% in the top 5, but are registered only 36% of the time as often as compared to other top-level domains. He means registered as in people buy .coms only 36% of the times compared to other top-level domains. All of these all of these stats really mean nothing in a vacuum. There's so many other reasons these could be rankings, why these particular stats could be useful. But this is a step in the direction that many SEOs need to take when we're doing research. We don't get an iron yes or no, but we get more data that we can apply to our thoughts and processes when we're putting together your plan for a practice. It's just so important that we do research like this, which is why I was really appreciative that he shared this. There wasn't a lot of concrete stuff here, but it was, again, useful. These are the kind of things that we don't have time to test ourselves, and he shared what he did, which is great.
This could be an example too of an example of what research you might want to do before buying a domain. You might want to, do searches for all of your local San Francisco dentist, San Francisco dental office, all that kind of stuff, and do your own mini version of this. You won't probably have access to all the tools that he uses that make life easier, but if you do a manual check for a handful of searches and look at what's ranking and what top level domains are they using, probably .com, it might be .us or maybe .ca if you're in Canada. In the dental world, you're probably not going to see .net or .org, but maybe. But yeah, take a look at what your competition is doing. If everybody's a .com, you probably want to stick with it. Although, I think that's just me trying to be extra careful. Not that it necessarily makes a big difference, but it's like, if you go with a .net and then you don't perform well, are you always going to be wondering, should I have gone with a .com? It's going to be in the back of your head. No?
I guess so. I mean, it all depends upon just how much you're investing in the job in the site. If it's excellent, doesn't matter what top level domain you have,
Fair.
It's going to do well. One of the things that you when you mentioned that about picking up domains, it brought up an interesting thing I saw today. His last name's escaping me anyway. A colleague of ours, he specializes in domains, and one of the things that he reminded everyone of, and I thought this was a great share, was that before you buy a domain, make certain that you check the backlinks on it. It may look like the most amazing domain. You're like, OMG, how is this not available? How is this not taken? Well, what could have happened is it was taken by someone big. They shut down, got rid of it, whatever. Then immediately a spammer took it over, milked all of the authority that had been created on that domain, which meant there was a lot of traffic still going to it. And they all of a sudden they redirected it to whatever garbage they were selling. And then they were also creating links to it and just trying to make it into something. But then they burned it. They essentially burned it down. It's useless. In fact, it's got a bad reputation. Well, you can find that out by doing a little backlink research. We can do it for you if you'd like. But essentially, it'll tell you what websites are pointing at it and what keywords they're using when they link to it. And if it looks like garbage, it is garbage. Don't touch it with a 10-foot pole. It's just gonna, it's like, instead of starting a race from the starting line, you're 2 miles back. That's what the kind of disadvantage it could be, if not just 10 miles back, depending on how badly they burned it. So great point. I'm glad you brought it up, because this is something that I shared again on social media thinking, you guys have to see this. It is something that a lot of us don't even consider. Well, we do, but a lot of people don't even consider when they're looking at domains. History is very important. So don't just go and buy those domains that sound great if you don't do your homework first.
I don't think Google would act on this because the numbers probably aren't high enough, but wouldn't it be cool if you buy your domain, you could register and verify it in Google Search Console, log in and have like a reset option and say, you know what, I just bought this. I'm brand new. Please delete everything in your history about it because that's somebody else. That's a different business. Like just reset the history of a domain. And then, it would allow these old burnt up domains to be used for something useful.
Totally agree. And I'm sure there's ways they could make it spam proof. I mean, make you show your business information and just to make certain that you're not another spammer taking over and you want to have a clean slate.
Or a hacker that's trying to kill their competition. So you definitely have to have a good verification process to pull that off. But
yeah, and they already ask for a lot of this information now when you're setting up your practice on Google My Business or Google Business Profiles. They're starting to ask for a proof of your business license, where you're located, a video of where you're located, all these different things to be sure that you're not fly by night. So it is important that, or it is important they're doing that. And it's also something they're getting more familiar with. So why not apply that to domains that should just be reset. I think it's a great idea. Let's put it out there.
Do it, Google. Do it.
Yes. All right. Pardon me. Do you want to take this next one?
Yeah, so this is kind of cool. I haven't seen this in the wild, in real life, but Google looks like they may be rolling out 3D and AR, augmented reality images, more widely in search, which is super cool. So the idea is that I'm trying to think of how this applies to a dental practice. I guess you would have various merchandise in certain situations, but it's really focused on shopping websites, e-commerce. Would allow you to take a 3D model of your product that you're selling, and that 3D model can appear in the actual organic search shopping results. So someone could sit there, they do a search, your image pulls up for your toothbrush, I don't know, and you can click on it and drag it around and look at it from different angles, and just like you can on in all kinds of platforms. But to have that in actual search would be super cool.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and it looks like they're testing that. So
yeah, and they had actually launched a program a while ago, but they shut it down. And part of what was interesting here is that this client had fulfilled all the necessary upgrades to their system so that they could use their new 3D images they had created, but they hadn't actually become a part of the early adopter program at Google, or entered into a pilot, which you could do, which are now defunct. Those are no longer available. And yet, because they went through and did this right, Google's now giving them the benefit of this and starting to show these models, which, coming out of left field, certainly a good thing for these e-commerce companies. But it's just wild how things happen so much later and without any notice or warning or anything. How, in terms of what this could mean for a practice, I think it would be really interesting if, and this happens, when a featured image for an article or a featured image for a page appears within Google search, and we're starting to see that more and more, it could have augmented reality or a 3D image of maybe your latest scanning machine that you're talking about in an article. Maybe, I don't know, examples of having an implant installed, just a video, a short of that, an animation. It's who knows how this is going to go.
Or you could or you could even have like the AR video of the exam room pop up with a listing or something, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah, and with these AR, you can drag and move things around with your mouse inside that little box for the images. It's coming, and it's, I think, a brilliant move. It's very easy to do this stuff on your mobile phone, which is key. A lot of people are going mobile, right? I think it's like above 80% of people are searching the web on mobile. And if it works in mobile and it's got adoption, you're going to expect that to roll out in different places, including featured images and stuff. I fully expect it. This is another piece here, and this is really quite interesting, and it's going to have some effect on the dental marketplace. We're just not sure exactly how yet, because this is very new. But Google is testing AI organized local search results. So when you go and do a search right now, and let's say dentist Dallas, you're going to get a bunch of information about the different dentists available, typically in a local pack, which is like a box which has the map and different places that are nearby you, and also some classic or standard organic rankings on the page. Those are the ones we've seen since 1997, the very basics. With this new system, the example used is a bit different. It was for restaurants, Aline, and this is a specific area of the United States I wasn't familiar with, but I understand it's pretty small. But either way, Google's system actually created a listing that had multiple ways to search or see results. Most of them are horizontal, so you could scroll sideways, and you get an idea of the different restaurants. You get another one where you'd scroll through and see different menu items. And then they had normal ones that were vertical, that talked about the different locations, and they had maps that kind of swept into a box that were very interactive. And because they swept in, they weren't just there as you scrolled up. They were more alluring. They certainly caught the eye. This is entirely driven by AI, and it's kind of fascinating to see this being played out. It's a test. It's another one of these seen in the wild things, but when it comes to dental practices, what are they going to do with that? Are they going to have different horizontal bars for different types of dental needs, implants, cleaning, emergency services? I mean, there's so many different ways they could do this, and we have no idea yet how AI is going to do that. And Google has said that they're going to be rolling out AI organized search results fairly soon. It's coming out in the near future, and it has been quote unquote warned that that's coming. What I thought was kind of funny is that Barry Schwartz, who wrote this article on SE Roundtable, said and showed that back in 2007, they were doing this kind of things where they were trying to group together information just to test it. And then they did it twice in 2020. But oh my God, in 2007, it couldn't look more worse. Couldn't look worse. It was all text back then. And yeah, I can see why it flubbed. But it's a good example of how, you try things before when you couldn't do it, but now you have it's like watching old movies with animation or, they didn't have CGI, and now you watch movies now and they can do movies that they would never have been able to do back then with any kind of quality. Anyway, things are improving, and hopefully this is going to be a good thing for everyone, but you just never know. All we do know is that Google's going to stick to whatever makes them more money. And we just hope that that is in keeping with making our clients' practices more money. Anyway, it's always moving, the SEO universe, and we're here to share that with you. And we're very looking forward to sharing a lot more. Well, on behalf of myself, Ross Dunn, co-founder of First Dentist, thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions you'd like to answer, either on the podcast for free or on more private consulting basis, please email info@first.dentist. That's info@first.dentist. Thank you for listening, and remember to tune into our next episode where we'll be sharing more SEO 101 tips and news on dental SEO.